Hi, I'm Joe Eames, and welcome to Legion by the Numbers. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the MagnaGuards, and we're specifically going to be looking at their ranged profile. And we're going to focus mostly in on that RPS-6 rocket launcher, and really kind of find out and analyze, is it worth it, and what kind of damage does it do at range 3 and 4 when the rest of the MagnaGuards aren't there, or at range 2 when the rest of the MagnaGuards can contribute to the attack. So let's go ahead and outfit our unit. For heavy weapon, we're going with that RPS-6 MagnaGuard. And again, here training isn't going to make a huge difference on these ranged attacks. You can go with Hunter to give you a better chance of an aim token, but you've also got that retinue, which gives you the opportunity to get the aim token if you're hanging out by your commander. So one way or another, we're going to look at what's going to happen if you do have an aim token or don't have an aim token. So we're not going to worry about the training slots right now. We're just going with the basic MagnaGuard with the RPS-6 cannon. So let's go ahead and head over to legionbuilds.com's dice simulator. And let's first plug in our points, 100 points. Now, probably we're actually going to have these guys kitted out. You're probably kitting them out with Tenacity and Hunter. So really their cost should be probably this 110. We'll go ahead and put that in for our cost, just to kind of give us a points comparison as to what it takes when your RPS-6 is just doing its own damage all by itself. Of course, a lot of people maybe are only going to be using like situational awareness, something else, or no second training. So it could be off by a couple of points, so that's okay. Not going to worry about that. They surge to hit, and then the RPS-6 is a single rainbow. Now, it does have critical 1, which is kind of the key here, and it's one of the big differentiating factors, that and the red dice. Other than that, it does basically the same damage as a regular MagnaGuard unit does, but it has range 3 and range 4, and it's not tapped. So let's just look at a couple of scenarios. We're going to look at what that weapon does just by itself when you're not considering a defender. And that's 1.87 points of damage. So we're not really starting with very high. So when you're at range 3 and range 4, you're only attacking with that weapon. Your basis to start out is less than 2 points of damage on average. So let's look at what happens when you shoot at something that's like a B1, white defense die, no surge. That brings it down to 1.5. If they surge to block, like Rebels, we're coming down to 1.25. And then the red die with no surge comes out to 0.94. So about 1 point of damage. Now this is without any cover. So let's just keep it on the red and let's head over to give them light cover. And now we're getting a 0.5 point of damage. And then what happens if that red defense die unit is in heavy cover? Just a third of a point of damage and a 2/3 chance to miss, which is really bad odds. So one lesson to pull from this is if you've got that RPS-6, you've got some target that's red defense dice and in heavy cover, shooting is really a long shot. Of course, dice don't roll on paper. They actually roll for real. So the likelihood is you're going to make 0 hits, but you might make one. You might get 1 hit through there with that. Even though the critical 1 is such a powerful ability with only 3 dice to pull off of it, just isn't any good. Let's look, what about if you got B1s that are in heavy cover? Are they worth shooting at? Again, you got a 50-50 miss chance, and the average is 0.6 damage, so 1 occasionally, now and then 2. Not really great odds using that weapon to something that's in cover. But out of cover, it's definitely worth it, doing 1 to 2 points of damage pretty regularly for things that are out of cover. Not bad. Now let's go with armor. That RPS-6 does have impact 2. So that's the reason that a lot of people take this, is there's a lot of armor going on right now in the current meta. And so with that weapon, you can plink away at armor at range 4. So let's go with our white, surge to block, cover doesn't matter here, and something that has actually armor on it, and see what we get for that. Now look at this. Even though white surge to block the kind of the weaker armor, something like one of the small walkers, you're still only with that. Oh, I didn't put in the impact for how to do that. Let's put the impact in and actually see now how that affects it. You can see it was only going to do a 0.5 point of damage to something with armor, but with that impact 2, what do we get? Okay, here we go, a lot better. We're doing 1.25 points of damage on average, but only a 20% chance to miss. So shooting at something with armor that's white, defense dice, and surge to block, that's pretty good odds and pretty good target to shoot at. Now let's look at red with no surge, so that's your heavier tanks, and see what we get there. 0.92 with a third of a 1 out of 3 chance, basically to hit 32% chance to miss. Sorry, so that's actually really good. On most of the time, you're doing 1 point of damage, and a third of the time you're going to miss. They're going to defend away from it or something like that. But that's still pretty good. Now let's look at what happens when we throw that aim in there. So let's kind of reset things. We're going to take off the armor. We're going to do red, no block, heavy cover. We saw that before with this single rainbow. Remember, it was only a third of a chance to hit. What if they have that aim token, though? If they have aim, is it really worth it shooting at something that's red and heavy cover? And you can see the average is less than 0.5 point of damage and a 60% chance to miss instead of 67. Still not good odds. So probably not something you want to look at, shooting at red defense dice and cover, even if you can get that aim. But let's go back to no cover and something with armor on it, like a red tank. With that aim token, instead of doing 0.92, now we're doing 1.1. And our chance to miss dropped from 32 down to 24. So it basically lost a quarter of the chance to miss. And that's really great. You know, a definite improvement. And that aim is really going to help out. So if you can get the aim, if you're going to shoot at something with red armor, red defense dice and has armor, that's a great idea. Let's look at what happens if it's white armor with surge to block. 1.5 points of damage and only an 11% chance to blank out or be completely defended. Again, really good choice with that weapon. So this is a great weapon for shooting against armor. It's just not great for nearly anything else. Maybe a unit that isn't in cover, but you can only get to range 3 or range 4 on. It might still be worth it to make that shot, but otherwise it's not really great. Now let's look at the other scenario, which is you're actually in that range 2. So if you remember here that RPS-6 only has range 2 to 4, and the MagnaGuards have range 1 to 2. So there's that narrow band, right, when your unit is, your target is inside of range 2. They're not in range 1, they're not in range 3, where your other 3 units get to contribute their ranged attack with a black and a white. So in that case, we got 3 more black and 3 more white. And maybe you're shooting at something that's got armor. You still get that impact 2 and the critical 1. So put all those things together, and now you've gone from 1.5 to 2.7 and a 2% chance to miss. That's great. So shooting at armor from range 2, fantastic move. Let's go with red and no block and still using armor. And now we're getting 2 points of damage on average and only 8% chance to get no damage at all. Really, really, really great. Great numbers there. That is with the aim. Let's look at those same things without the aim. So back to white and block. 2.46. Not much drop off. 2.46 to 2.68 with the aim. So the aim kind of really didn't do much there for shooting at close range to a white surge to block armor vehicle. Red with no. Before we were at 2.0 and 8% with the aim. And now we're 1.85 and 10% without the aim. Again, not much change there. So when you're in that range band too, the aim isn't really crazy valuable. It might be worth it to do something else with your second. Take a dodge if you can take the aim or the dodge. Or if you're taking an action to aim and then fire, it might be worth it to take a dodge and then fire. Or move. Range 2 is kind of weird because you're kind of in that place where you might be able to just charge in and then do melee damage, and that might be better, but against armor, you don't have the impact. So shooting at range actually could be better. In fact, that's a great question for us to answer is, if you could either charge something with armor and hit it with melee and not use the RPS-6 and get better, but you've got better die, or you can shoot the RPS-6 at range 2 or even at range 4 or 3 or 4. What's better to do? So let's keep our armor on, and we're going to go with White, surge to block, but now we're going to look at their melee profile. So their melee profile is 2 black instead of a black and a white, and we won't have the RPS-6 anymore. So no red, and we're going with 8 black and no white. We don't have the critical anymore, and we don't have the impact because we're not using the RPS-6. We do surge to hit. We're going to look at this with or without the aim. So white surge to block with armor, only 0.67. Even though you have a lot more die, more black dice, that's not good numbers. Let's go with red, no block, 0.5. Not really great at all. Whereas red with no block using the RPS-6, we were able to do that 1.85. So a lot better chance. So that's a good lesson here. If you've got the RPS-6 with your unit and you can either charge in and do a melee attack on the armor, or you can stay back at range 2, exactly at range 2 and shoot, you want to be at range 2 shooting at that armor. Much, much, much better profile for damage there. So now that we've got this set back to the RPS-6 at range 2, let's also look at what happens if we're just shooting at regular old infantry units. So no armor anymore. Now we're going to do like white with no block into heavy cover. If with the RPS-6 at that range 2, is it worth it to shoot at something that's in heavy cover, white and no block? So let's run that. Wow, look at that, 2.5 points of damage with that RPS-6. That's pretty significant. And that in heavy cover, that's really quite crazy. I'm a little surprised by that. Let's give them an aim token to see if that affects it much. Wow, brings it all the way up to 3.2 points of damage. That critical with the surge to hit really makes a big difference. That's a really powerful attack there against white. Of course, this is only against B1s. Let's run these same numbers. We'll take off the aim and we'll go to like a rebel white with surge to block. And we're still doing 2 points of damage against them in heavy cover. With the aim, it goes up to 2.5 and the chance to miss drops into half. So this is a great time to take your aim, as if you can only get to range 2 and still attack. Again, this is kind of that thing that if you're at range 2, are you not going to be able to charge? You probably can, unless maybe they're behind some barricades, in which case you can't path, all the way around them. You only have like you only have a range speed 1 maneuver or movement because of the that or difficult terrain or something, and shooting is your only option. Man, shooting is great option at these things. Now let's look at the same thing for red with no block. Go without the aim first. We're doing 1.5. Still a great attack. Still a great attack. If we add the aim in, now almost 2 points, and the chance to miss is down at only, the chance to not do any damage is only down at 10%. So that's a really good lesson. Very interesting. That RPS-6 is a great weapon. That critical, the additional red die, those make a big difference when attacking at range. All of a sudden, if you saw the other video about comparing the MagnaGuards versus the BX and their ranged attack, this is a really significant attack to be able to do that. Let's just compare really quick. What happens if we're attacking with these guys versus if we just took the other extra MagnaGuard and save ourselves those 6 points, right? The cost. So we can see right here, it's like 60 points per. We could save ourselves 6 points, only going down to 104. But now we lose the red die. We still have the black and the white. That's what they do at range. We lose the critical. The impact really doesn't matter, but we'll take it off anyway. Let's take off the aim, and we're just going to compare the red. So red defense die in heavy cover with just a full unit of MagnaGuards, no RPS-6, shooting at range 2, if that's all that they can shoot. How does that compare to the RPS-6? So let's do this without the aim. So before we were getting 1.5, now we're down to 1.07. Still not bad. Still not bad. And then with the aim, but there is a third of a chance to miss, a 32% chance to miss. With the aim, it goes up to 1.5 and a 20% chance. So not nearly as good as the RPS-6. And look at the cost per hit. With the RPS-6, we're paying 73 points versus 96 points there 73 versus 96 without the RPS-6. So a lot more costly, less efficient to go with the base unit. RPS-6, definitely worth it. Same thing, 57 all the way up to 71, 72 points per hit. So the regular MagnaGuard really is just not a good choice, other than in really, if those 6 points are absolutely critical in your build, that's probably the only real reason you'd want to choose that over the RPS-6. Now, of course, the other thing taking is if you want to take the Electro Whip MagnaGuard, that can be a very viable choice alongside the RPS instead of the RPS-6, because it's an entirely different thing. Now you're even better at melee, and you have the immobilize, and you have some more versatility that you can even attack things at range 1 while you're in melee. So the Electro Whip and the regular RPS-6 the Electro Whip and the RPS-6 MagnaGuard, both good choices. The regular, just additional MagnaGuard, not a good choice. So did I miss anything? Is there a scenario where the other MagnaGuard really does make sense and is better? Are those 6, as far as I could tell, those 6 points that you save are not worth it at all. Not a good savings. So let me know if you saw anything that I missed. If there's anything else you'd like me to cover. If you like the content, hit like and subscribe. That's really great. And check back. I actually have a lot more videos I really want to do about the MagnaGuards. They're kind of a fun new unit. A lot of really interesting things to look for. Some future videos coming out here soon. And thanks for watching.